Hello, I'm Pam Hoffman, Everyday Spacer.
I'm Jeff Miller, 2049 Outfitters.
At Everyday Spacer, we show regular folks how to personally and directly participate in space exploration, science, and astronomy. We're here on Friday nights at 9 p.m. Pacific Time, midnight Eastern Time, 3 p.m. on Saturday in Queensland, Australia. We are broadcasting live from Thousand Oaks, California. Thanks so much for joining us.
And tonight's topic is Journey from Mars 2020 to Perseverance on Mars, Part 2. Last week we went over part of the story going to JPL several times between 2016 and 2019.
And go ahead.
Oh, just several times during that, though you went more often than I did because I couldn't get away from work.
Yeah, and you can find part 1 on Everyday Spacer in the Facebook group or on the Everyday Spacer YouTube channel, and we've got some links to share. Let me go ahead and add that. And thanks so much for joining us. I have a couple of people that we like to see. Let's see, here we do. Here's that one, and you've got one too, right? I will go ahead and flash these up. Thanks so much for joining us, Paulo and Michael from Hong Kong. So Brazil and Hong Kong, well represented. Thanks so much. Really appreciate you being here with us. So yeah, I guess we could just start in with the pictures, right? So here, that's my part right here. Okay, here we go.
Okay. Yeah, we've been going since 2016 to their tours. We've been there a few times before that, but it wasn't a guided tour. It was just their open house. And we do have some photos from that, but it was long before Mars 2020. So we figured we'd just show the stuff from Mars 2020. Yeah, hi, Mike.
He's got a really good connection today. That's awesome. Great to hear that, Michael.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, this was, and we showed this last time too. This was us right in the front building where you start off with. And then we'll just go into what we set up for today. And if you want to see the other ones from last week, that is at those links.
Yeah. And this is the Mars 2020, or as we now know it, Perseverance vehicle.
Yeah, when we were there and we would see it being built. It didn't even have a name. It was just called Mars 2020, and they do have some really interesting information on this, and you can see that, Jeff. Go ahead and read that.
It's bigger on my screen than on yours.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, its main job is to seek signs of ancient life and collect samples of rock and regolith, which is broken rock and soil, for possible return to Earth. The launch was in July 30th.
Last July, right?
Yeah, last July 2020, and landed February 18th in 2021 in Jezero Crater on Mars.
Yeah.
And tech demo, the Mars helicopter, is a 30-day technology demonstration hitching a ride on the Perseverance rover, although there are a number of people placing bets on how many launches they'll actually have of it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, Fraser from the Weekly Space On said, "Have you ever given your sons a helicopter drone? He predicts one flight."
Well, and there's lots of sand. So, and if you haven't heard yet, they are actually supposed to give it its first flight on Sunday. So that would be something to stay tuned for. That's Sunday, April the 11th. So we're kind of catching up to our story here. Yeah, go ahead. And I think we got we're ready for the next slide, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Thanks, Jeff.
And this was the mock-up of the rover, or as I like to call it, the FOVer. Faux rover.
Oh, right. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And we've got a short video that is a walk around of the rover too, and that basically gives more views of it.
Yeah, this is basically a scale, like I think it's a 1-to-1. And just so you know, we cannot talk to you while the video is running. It is a little bit loud as well, so be warned. All right, let me see. I have to go back over here and cue that up. All right, ready, steady, we're going.
It doesn't prove that life ever existed there, but it opens up that possibility. So when you're talking little kids, it's like you want to open your kitchen cabinet. You might have all the ingredients for chocolate chip cookies in the cabinet. So that's the same idea. So the next program we're going to be working on, we're going to be sending another one of ours like this in 2020. Experiments on it, and that's to be able to look for the actual evidence of life, whether or not, at least where we're going.
This is the rover. It's taller than he is, well, at least with the mast. But the main structure of it is about, head height. So it's a big vehicle.
Yeah, they describe it as like SUV size.
I don't know, really small SUV, but yeah, didn't look that big to me, but.
Well, that's the way to describe it. It's not the size of a dog, which some folks would think.
Yeah.
And Paulo, you're very welcome for the invitation. No problem at all.
Okay, and so this week we figured we'd talk about the evolutions of the various stages of it, because
at least what we took pictures of.
Yeah.
We were not planning this at all. We just have a bunch of pictures that we were kind of like taking for ourselves personally, and we've pulled from them the ones that were kind of the best ones and showed sort of a progression of this being built. So yeah, go ahead.
Well, the best ones, meaning it shows the ones that show less of my shaky camera work. So if they look blurry, they were taken by me. If they don't look blurry, they were probably taken by Pam.
So this is the descent stage.
Yep, the descent stage. And this is November 2017.
Hey, Cliff.
Hey, hi,
Welcome.
Cliff.
Glad you're here.
Yeah. And all the way down, if you notice that this is a shot that I took, so it's a bit blurry. I think the camera autofocused on this structure here.
Oh, very likely, yes.
But you can see that there's a bunch more, and this is 2018. You can see that they've hung a bunch more stuff on the descent stage here.
Right.
And then we've got the cruise stage over here, starting in 2017 with just the bare structure right there with a couple of gas tanks.
And if you want to kind of get an overview of this whole clean room, that was available in our last episode. We kind of showed our videos of us panning, and it was empty, and then it was starting to be built. So this would be on the right-hand side of the clean room as seen from the gallery, which is where you can view it from when you go to JPL as a visitor for the private show, for the private tours.
Yeah, and the descent stage was over here to the left of it.
Basically in the middle of the clean room, yeah.
Yeah. And so this is 2017, end of 2017, but 2017.
And we actually got more pictures of this. We have 3 pictures of this. This is the next progression in that. And they're actually building it upside down.
Yeah.
And you can see that in this particular image. It's much more built up.
Yep.
This will be flipped over on top of the descent stage.
Yeah. So that's March 2019, and we've got one more, which is a lot more built up, and it's on the base of the shipping crate that they're going to ship it in right here.
Yeah, and that was in December 2019. It's pretty much ready to load. They've moved it to the far left end of this clean room, and basically it's just waiting to be paired up with the rest of the.
Yeah. And there we go. This is they brought the rover in really late. This is, what's the date on here? It's way
December
down.
2019.
December 2019. So this is when they brought it in. I think this is real close to when they brought it in. And there's a bunch of people working on it.
Taking pictures too. They were taking pictures like crazy every time I went there and saw it.
Yeah.
Don't forget to talk about High Bay Bob.
There's High Bay Bob.
If you want to know more about him, he is also in the last episode, and the docent talked about him a little bit. So we had 3 videos for that episode. So
yeah,
more about High Bay Bob in the previous episode, part 1.
Yeah, he's pretty much the mascot of the High Bay.
Yeah.
And by High Bay, we mean the giant clean room.
Yeah, it's very tall.
Yeah, it's tall, and
I mean, they have a crane inside there that can accommodate very, very large satellites and stuff. When they used to build them, very, very big back in the 70s and so forth, they fit in this clean room.
Yeah, and the video from last week doesn't go all the way up to the ceiling, but it does show how tall. Gives you a good view of how tall it is.
Yeah, it's a bit of, you get more scope in that episode.
Yeah.
This one wanted to focus on more details.
Yeah. So this is the last shot of the rover that I have, I believe. But these are some JPL photos. And this is the rover about to be mated with the descent stage. So,
yeah, we wanted to add these because they were really great pictures. They're on the floor of the clean room. We of course, we weren't allowed to go there ourselves. But
one wonders why.
No, we know why. Because it's the clean room. And yeah, we had a chance to show more of what was happening there than we could actually see. All right, so we've got there's a question from Dave. Hi, Dave. Welcome. All right, please. Yes, because of our time change, we are a little bit different now than we were during the winter. So thanks so much for joining us. I do try to give you a heads up in the chat before we start. Sorry about that, Dave.
Yeah, Dave, because of daylight savings time, we're now on Saturday in Australia instead of Friday.
No, we're not. Jeez. Go ahead. What's our next picture? Yeah, thanks, Dave. So glad you could join us.
And this is something that we never saw in the...
No, we never saw the drone.
Yeah. I suspect that they just brought it in just to be mated. I don't think it spent any time actually in the High Bay, except for getting trotted in to put on the rover. But I don't know for sure. Yeah,
hard to tell. We didn't see it. We kind of heard about it after and was like, oh, okay, because we went so many times. I mean, for a while, we were going once a quarter, kind of like the end of 2018 into 2019. But yeah, we never ever saw this particular piece of equipment that in that clean room being mated to the rover. But
yeah, I mean, and quite frankly, if it was sitting on a table somewhere, even not put together, the docents would have pointed it out.
I think so. Yeah,
because everyone would want to talk about the first thing to actually fly on Mars.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. The docents were just wonderful. They had all kinds of information. They answered everybody's questions, and they made sure that we stayed safe.
Yeah.
COVID safer. Yes, this is one of the cleanest places on Earth. I'm totally sure. Oh, I better flash it. Sorry, Dave. Yeah, David had a comment about that. It was way before that, though. Way before COVID.
Yeah. Not only, you can tell by the fact that they're not 6 feet away from each other or whatever.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But, I doubt that there's anything in that room besides, 1 part per million or something.
Oh, it's very low.
Like
it's
that.
very, very low. Yeah. Yeah. And they tell you that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. And so here is the descent and the cruise stage mated here.
And again, it was built upside down and then it was placed on top in an inverted position.
Yeah.
And again, this is a JPL photo. We did not get this photo. It was just a good photo. We wanted to make sure that we kind of told the story some more, a little bit, kind of progress with this process.
Mm-hmm.
And toward the end, they were actually broadcasting live from somewhere near the gallery, I think, and it was 24/7. This was like, one of the webcams you see that's pointed to a nest and high in a building. I remember in Cleveland, Ohio, we had one of those. They were peregrine falcons, and you can actually see them nesting and the chicks hatching and stuff. But this was over the clean room, and it was just fascinating. I mean, sometimes it was just them standing around and taking pictures, and sometimes there were actually lifting pieces around with the crane and putting things together to ship, that kind of thing. So it was really terrific, and they ran this for days on end. It was quite incredible to see into the clean room for the last parts of the build of Mars 2020.
And I think they pretty much finally figured that there was so much interest in it. And that's the part of the tour that everyone was talking about. I think they just figured, well, we've got the technology. Let's just slap a camera underneath the gallery and let people see it.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, it was very cool to tune into that. And I just kind of left it running. And every now and again, I go look and I'm like, oh my God, something's happened.
Yeah.
It was very cool.
Yeah. Unfortunately, when we go to YouTube to find it again,
sadly, you cannot see all that happened, all the proceeds. They must have had hours and hours of this and just could not run it again. I don't know if it's a YouTube thing or if JPL does not want you to see that now or what, but we cannot tell you where to go and look at that now. It would be really fun to...
Yeah, it might have been too big for YouTube to want to hold on to.
Oh, yeah.
Don't know.
That seems possible.
But at the time, it got decent. It got over 1 million views. So
yeah, and I don't know that too many people heard about it. So
yeah, well, you figure a small fraction of that percentage was you.
A small fraction.
Because you were on it all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I did like that. It was really fun to just tune in periodically because we had seen it so often. We'd gone like I said, about once a quarter. Yeah, let me go ahead and get us back onto. Here we go. That's the one. Yeah. Hello again.
Hello.
So yeah, it was really cool to keep building on the experience of watching the clean room turn into a room full of equipment, turn into a Mars rover, and then to see it live 24/7 on the video. And then we're actually going to talk about it some more next week. We decided we have a part 3. So come back on April the 16th. We're going to delve into the name Perseverance and the launch and then the landing on Mars.
Right. Which I'm pretty sure that all of us watched. Or if you haven't, you can find it. That one they didn't pull down from YouTube, so you can still see it.
Cool. And of course, they transmitted the first pictures and sound, and we tuned in for that live. That was really exciting. And of course, it wasn't live because it takes, 15 minutes?
17 minutes.
17 minutes to, first of all, send the signal to something on Mars at that time. I'm sure it's more now. And then to receive the signal back. So, we saw it as live as we could, considering it was broadcast from Mars and had to make its way to the Earth.
Well, it's live relative to the control room at JPL.
Yes, exactly.
Because we were seeing it as they were seeing it.
Exactly so.
And you know what? I actually haven't heard the first sound transmission.
Oh, you didn't? Oh,
no.
Interesting.
I'm debating listening to it between now and next week or hearing it the first time during our show. I guess
vote. Do you want to see Jeff surprised? Anyway, and we've decided that because they did something really cool. The tour itself, you go and see. You start off in the Von Karman Auditorium, and then they have a little museum there, and then you go other places into the campus. But they actually put the part of this tour online. It is something you can actually go and see. So on the 23rd, come back, stay tuned for that. We are going to run through that virtual tour, and they take you places that we could never go. So that's really cool. I'm really excited to show you that. So yeah, if you have any questions, go ahead and put them into the chat. We will try and help you out and answer the questions. And did you have anything else?
No, that's about it. I mean, anything else that I have deals more with next week's show. So
All right.
We'll talk about it next week.
All right, we'll get that set up for you next week. So, at this part of the program, we usually talk about what you can see in the night sky this week, and that is between April 9th and April 16th. The moon is 27 days old. The new moon is on April the 11th. For one thing, the nova is still visible. And if you need if you want to see that with binoculars, we've got some. Yeah. Okay. Let's answer a question first. Prediction. Oh, okay. Here we go. I think the drone will launch April 12th, the anniversary of Yuri. Ooh, really good point, David. Wouldn't that be really cool?
Yeah.
I think that would be fun.
Yeah, because they've been saying the 11th at the earliest, but that's what they've been. Yeah. So
right.
Yeah,
no earlier than.
Yeah.
That's a buzzword. NET. Yeah. No earlier than.
So David, what's your prediction on how many flights they'll get out of it?
I'm thinking one because there's so much dust. We have another comment. Thanks, Paulo. All right. So the Martian being. Oh, okay. So Paulo's in Brazil, and you're seeing the Martian. All right, very cool. Okay. All right, David. He says tricky Americans like to do this sort of things. Well, it will be interesting because, of course, that was a Russian flight. That was the first person, and it was someone from Russia. All right, David. David calls 4 or 5 flights.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see.
Yeah, I watched Weekly Space Hangout, and Fraser Kane's predicting 1 because he has kids and he's seen them fly a drone, and it usually lasts 1 flight.
I don't think it's your typical drone, though. Honestly, I think the dust is going to get them.
Right. Yeah.
That's my thinking.
Plus, it's self-flying, and they've tested it. They've actually tested it. They've actually taken it up to high altitude, edge of atmosphere, where our atmosphere is basically just as dense as Mars's atmosphere.
Oh, I see. So they found an analog.
Yeah, and hung it from the bottom of a weather balloon.
Oh.
And ran it up. So they do know something about it. You know, they have done some testing.
All right, David comes back with the first flight will be very short, then 4 flights of 90 seconds each. Yes, that's what I've been hearing. I think the dust is going to get them, but of course, I guess it's for the next 30 days, really, right? Yeah. And also, David comes back with testing has been done at NASA room simulating Mars condition. It flies. Oh, and Cliff wants to chime in if it depends. Yeah, I don't know what they've got on there, Cliff.
Yeah. Well, we saw a picture of it, a fairly recent picture of it sitting on Mars. And there's a lot of dust on the solar panels right now. Yeah,
there's already a lot of dust on it. I think it's just going to get into the little crevices between the rotors, and it's just going to freeze them up. I mean, that's my thinking. Because there is so much dust on Mars.
Yeah, that's going to be one of the problems for anyone being on there.
Yeah. Anywhere you go on Mars, the moon, they're both very dusty.
And the dust is poisonous.
Yeah.
Just to make it even more fun.
All right, here we go with one more from David. He's at Queensland. They're strange people. All right, you two, are we going to have to separate you? So I'm going to go ahead and show you the right ascension and declination. If you would like to look for that nova, it is in Cassiopeia. Here is the very specifics. If you have basically the rings on your telescope, that's where you set them. And it is near the star Keph. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. So, we're in the first 2 weeks of April. And remember I talked about last week the world tour, because the moon is going to be in conjunction with every single planet in the solar system in this first 2 week span of April. So April 5th was Pluto, April 6th was Saturn, April 7th was Jupiter, April 9th was Neptune, April 11th is Mercury, and the moon will be in conjunction. And basically this one in the morning. We're switching into the evening. April 11th, Mercury and the moon are in conjunction. It is the new moon. It's going to be you're going to have to look really low in the east before sunrise. Then the the new moon, of course, is hard to see. It's hard to see. But then, of course, it'll switch over and it'll be on the in the west on April 12th. Venus and the moon are in conjunction. That'll be looking low in the west right after sunset. The moon is only 1 day old, so it will be hard to see as well, but it is going to start getting easier and easier. We had a couple more from as well. Did you want to talk about that?
Well, yeah, they're actually setting this one up for a sample return.
Yeah.
They're actually going to be putting samples in sealed containers from this rover for a future return mission that'll pick up the containers, which is basically the NASA guys giving themselves a, job security, or attempting job security, to basically say that, well, there's got to be another mission now because we've got something to grab.
Right.
But,
yeah.
But they are planning for that. They are planning for it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I actually saw something about it recently, and I think Paulo had a question too. Maximum height for the drone. I don't know what that is. Do you know? David, do you know?
I don't.
Cliff, do you know?
I think the atmosphere is so thin that it doesn't really drop off that fast. So if it can go on the surface, I think it can get fairly high. I don't think they're going to run it that high.
No.
Because they don't want it to fall out of the sky and damage itself that much. I mean,
I thought I heard something about a few meters. Something.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And we have Glenn here. Welcome, Glenn.
Yeah. And
yes, I saw that. David wrote all about that. The only planet in the solar system inhabited by robots. Yeah, it is definitely time to get people up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
break them open. I like that. Will we see anything in there like we do here?
Yeah. But my suspicion is that if they get 4 or 5 good test flights, they're gonna just decide, let's go for it and run it up as high as they can get it, just to see what it can do. That's my guess.
And then there's the other thing. They'll say, oh well, it's good for 90 days, and then the darn thing's still running 18 years later. So maybe we'll see that too. All right, low altitude kept inside the cameras. Yes, it is a visual test. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But at the end, maybe they'll do something crazy like they did with Cassini. It just went round and round, and then right into
I suspect that they're gonna fly it away from the rover and just see what they can do. I mean, they've got young guys with joysticks. I mean,
okay, all right. So if you have any more comments, please let's keep the conversation going. I will go ahead and talk about the rest though. Like I said, April 12th, Venus and the moon are in conjunction, and this is part of that world's tour. It's a bit incredible. The moon is in conjunction with every single planet in the solar system in this first 2 weeks of April. On the 13th, Uranus and the moon are in conjunction. Of course, the moon will be very obvious. We won't be able to see Uranus without optical aid, though. Here we go. Are we going to see it? Okay, so let's see. You're talking about the cameras from the drone or the rover?
I think the drone does have a camera on it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it does.
Yeah. And now, are you talking High Bay Bob?
High Bay Bob. I think he is.
Well, he might have, but he's a bit of a stiff.
Yeah. All right, and then we have one more. On 17th, Mars and the moon will be in conjunction, and that's the end of the world's tour. Go ahead.
I thought you were going to say it's the end of the world, which...
No, the world's tour. Moon in conjunction.
You should have left with that. Get people to tune in next week.
Oh, okay.
Remember...
We can do cliffhangers.
Yeah. Remember, stay in past... keep watching past these ads, or your world will end. That's the typical news show.
I was thinking of Flash Gordon. Every time he would die, but at the end it was like, oh, but he was saved. So maybe we should do that.
That so fits our format.
Oh, okay. 2019. What? I don't think that's true, David. Actually, it might be kind of nice, wouldn't it? Are you guys still getting rain? I know it was terrible floods there. My God, I hope it's drier now. Yeah. Yikes.
And Dave, behave yourself or we're going to turn this car around and go home.
All right, Jeff, take us home.
Okay. If you or someone you know has done something interesting involving space exploration, science, or astronomy, we'd love to share our live. And join us next Friday, April 16th, and we'll talk about the journey from Mars 2020 to Perseverance on Mars, Part 3.
Sure, David. Promises.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us, folks. We really appreciate that, and we have a lot of fun, especially when you give us great comments to work with. And we can't wait to see you next week when we will talk a little bit more about this story, the journey from Mars 2020 to Perseverance on Mars. And I'm really glad we could join us. Thanks, David. He says, good show. Yeah, good show. And then
Cliff.
oh, you got some clear days. Yay.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Yay. Oh, great. Thanks, Paulo.
Yeah.
Love to have you here again. All right.
Okay.
Until next week. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Good night.
Good night.